Hi and welcome to Rebecca Assimilates. So today we are going to be looking at a way in which we might be able to get the tiny delights that we live with, known as children, to write their first story. Or even if they don't quite get that far, to realise how lovely the world of storytelling can be. This is going to be 6 steps, and it's sort of aimed really at children that are between the ages of 4 and 6-ish. Obviously, you know your child. It depends on their abilities and what they like and what they don't like and all of that kind of thing. So just see what you think. You can adapt it, do your own thing with it. But this is what I did with my own delightful little human being, and with a few others as well. So let's see, first of all, the preparation. What you will need. So you will need some nice white A4 paper. You could use like the other side of cereal boxes if you really were desperate. It doesn't have to be white paper, but if you've got white A4 paper, please use it. Several sheets. A pencil for you and your tiny human. I don't know, there could be more than one of them. For me, because sometimes pencils are quite slippy, and for your tiny humans as well, I always find it's quite nice to put like an elastic band around just for like extra grip. It's a nice cheap way of making sure it can be held. You're going to need to provide them with something to colour in with. They might be used to using crayons or colouring pencils when they colour in, so now is not the time to bust out some new materials. They're already a little bit, there's going to be a bit of apprehension. It's a new thing, they're writing a story. So stick with what they know. If you normally use acrylic paints, then get them out, that's fine. But use what they're familiar with, what they're comfortable with, so that they feel a bit more safe and secure in this activity. I will be using felt tip pens. And you will also need a ruler, because at some stages you will need to draw some straight lines on paper for your tiny human being. Okay, so let's get into it. So step 1, character. Ask them who is going to be the star of their story. What will they be? Will they be human? Will they be a boy or a girl? Will they be an animal? Will they be a dinosaur? Will they be an alien? It's their story. It's up to them. What do they think the star of their story should be? What colour hair will they have, the star? What colour eyes will they have? What colour clothing will they wear? Or, if it's a dog, what colour collar have they got on? What's their favourite colour? These things are all quite important in working out who their character is going to be. So the first step of this, I'm going to use my cushion, hopefully you'll be able to see. So they are going to draw their character the way my tiny human draws, and I think others around her age do, is that, I've got a head. Oh, it's a little bit small, can you see the head? There's a neck. If they're a girl, which mine is, the dress is usually kind of like interesting triangle shape. Got some arms. Oh, they're attached to the body. Got some legs, big feet. Got some hair. She's got crazy curly hair going on, but she's cool. She's the main character. She might be a bit different, that's okay. And then you're going to kind of ask them, colour them in now. Colour your star in. Oh, of course they will. They will be excited by this, hopefully. So my main character's hair is going to be red. Yes, big, lovely, red, curly hair. Oh, she's amazing already. Her dress is going to be green. It's my favourite colour. So it's happening. Got a green dress. When you're doing this with them, what I find really helps is that I do it as well. It's not just me. Like, you don't want to be in the situation where you're watching your children or the tiny humans that you live with and you're like really observing what they're doing, because that's going to be like a lot of pressure. So I find it's quite nice to actually do an activity with them at the same time, and that way you're having fun too. You're doing it together. It's more of a joint experience, and it also helps them if they've got questions about something. They might not even have to ask. They can just look at what you're doing and they get it, and you're like bouncing off each other. It's very lovely. If you do choose to do that, then please remember that they are not going to be budding artists. Their pictures are not going to be perfect, and if you do like masterpieces, it's going to make them feel a bit sad Don't make it perfect, and definitely when you're colouring in, colour outside of the lines. That's very important. You want to encourage them, okay? So, big purple boots. Got big stomping boots. Oh, yes. Good at colouring outside of the lines. Now is the time when you get them to write a little bit, and it's not a lot because we're going to do this in a way that's going to make them feel like it's not writing. They're not even having to think about it. And they're going to put labels on their picture. So there's going to be like arrows, okay? And they're going to write what they see, very basically. So we're thinking green dress. Yes, okay. Red hair. They might want to go for it and actually write like big, crazy, curly red hair. That's fine. You let them do their thing. It depends how they approach this and how they warm to it. Purple boots. So they're labelling, they're writing, they're thinking about the character, and they're thinking about words and spellings without even really thinking they're doing it, because this is fun, okay? This has to be fun, otherwise it won't work. One quite important thing as well is that they're going to be spelling phonetically, so they're going to come across words that they don't really know how to spell yet, and they're going to work it out in their head how they think it should be. And to be honest, a lot of these words, when kids first work it out and it's like, yeah, that's not actually how you spell it, but that would make so much more sense if the English language was that way. So basically they will spell things how it sounds, and that's really important. It's a really important stage of them learning how to spell. You don't want to just like completely hinder that and be like, no, that's not how it's spelled. Like, you don't want to tell them it's correct either. You don't want to kind of maybe just don't say anything. Just go with the flow of what's happening. If your child really wants to know, like, is this how you spell red? Then you can say, yes, that's it. But other than that, just kind of like go with it, be flexible. This is important. So, for example, my character is going to be called Rose. We know how to spell Rose. Children, some of them might know how to spell Rose, but if they don't, they might do something like, oh yeah, it's important to put the name on the picture. They might not even do a capital letter at the start because they might not have learnt that that's what you do with names yet. That's how they're spelling Rose. Can you see it? Can you see it? Rose. That's fine. We'll let them have that one. That is how our character's name is spelled now. Very important that they have a name. They've got big red curly hair. They might even want to add some characteristics on. You never know. Like, they might want to be like, yeah, she is brave. But they might not want to do that, and that's fine. Just, go with it. Let them do what they want to do. Okay, oh, this step's over now. Brilliant. Step 2 is the setting of the story. So this character that they've brought into creation, that they've brought to life, where will they live? Where would this character live? Would they live in a castle, or would they live in a cave? Would they live in a bog, like a swamp? Would they live in a bungalow? I don't know, but you need to, talk about this with them, and remember, don't sway them in any way. You are really helping them delve into their creativity and imagination. So, wow, whatever they decide is brilliant. Okay, so, well, limits. But, so Rose is going to live in a nice little cottage. Oh yeah. There's smoke coming out of the chimney. There's a door, it's in the middle. I like it when you see like houses that are symmetrical. It just does something to me. So that's exactly what Rose is going to have. There's going to be a nice winding pathway to her house. Of course, there's going to be flowers on the side of the path because it's a beautiful place. It's lovely. And there's going to be a pond. There's a fish in the pond. And there is going to be, we'll do a slide as well because, oh goodness, it's all gone wrong. Let's do some steps. It's a slide. Okay, so they are going to be now labelling the setting, labelling their picture, because remember, we're getting them to write tiny weeny words without them really thinking about it, without it being a chore. So you definitely don't want to go into this sort of saying things like, until you've finished, you cannot go out to play. That's not what we want to do with this. And there are 6 stages to this. This is step 2. And the thing is, those stages, it really depends on your little human. You might just get it done within an hour. It might be something that needs to be spread out over months. Just go with it, okay? You'll get there. They'll get there in the end. It's fine. So they're labelling their picture. So we've got a pond, fish, slide, Oh yeah, I've got the slip diagraphs down. So they're labelling some things, it's lovely. And at that point, obviously, let them colour it in if that's what they like. I mean, they might not like that. They might be like, I don't want to colour. That's fine too. I like to colour in. So I'm just going to just quickly give it something. So yes, so fish. It's a goldfish, so it's orange. Which makes no sense. Why isn't it called an orange fish? My flowers are definitely yellow, going up the path. That is step 2 done. How amazing. Like, they've got their main character and they've got the setting of the story. Like, they've done so well so far. Okay. What is next? Step 3 is want. What does their character want? Everyone wants something. It's a want that usually drives a story. Maybe your character's called Jacob and Jacob really wants to get high enough to touch a star. Okay, how? You know, that is his want. How's he going to do that? I don't know, but we're just thinking about the want right now. He wants to touch a star. Lulu really wants to get herself a pet rabbit. Rose, our character, loves butterflies and she would really like to have a butterfly all of her own. They're just so beautiful and she wants one. Okay, so want. So this is where the ruler comes in. Okay, so you're going to do some lines. There's still going to be a big space at the top for the picture because that's quite nice, isn't it, doing pictures? But you are going to do some lines towards the bottom of the page. Quite nicely spaced out because, you know, they're probably only going to write a sentence. You need to give them a fighting chance here, really. So here we have it. It's lovely. Can you see there's some lines in the lower half? We know the want now. So we're going to write the want down. Your little children are going to write their want. So before we get started, there are a few golden rules that are very important for children learning to write. I think sometimes it's quite nice to have them like as a visual aid, like have them written down separately before you start so that they can refer back to them. So here are the rules. Can you see the rules? So rule number 1, finger spaces. So that's between words. So they finish a word and then they go, oh, they put their little finger in there and then that's the space and then they can do the next word. Rule number 2, capital letters at the start of sentences and then full stops at the end. I'm hoping for a nice little full stop dot. A lot of children really love to do like a massive big black hole in the middle. So hopefully that won't happen, but it could. Rose wants. I mean, you could go into Rose wants to catch a butterfly. That would actually be quite nice, but just to make it a really nice, simple sentence. Rose wants a butterfly. So yeah, we've got the want. It's lovely. They've done their want. They've written their bit. It's amazing. Now they get to have the fun of, you know, drawing their character in their triangle dresses with their big stompy boot. And Rose is looking at butterflies. She's out and about somewhere, probably, you know, in the front garden, the back garden of the cottage that we worked out that she lives in the setting. And so she's looking at all of the butterflies and she wants these butterflies. Every time she looks at them, they're just so beautiful and all the colours are lovely and she wants one. She wants one. We all want things. We can't really help it. We suddenly decide that we want things and Rose wants a butterfly. That step's done. Obviously, please let your tiny humans colour it in if that's what they want to do. I mean, maybe, because it's important that we let them choose what they think their characters will want. It's their story. We're just kind of like an accompaniment to help them when they need it. We're working parallel to them. We are not dictating to them what they should and shouldn't be doing. So maybe their character lives on a pirate ship and what that character wants more than anything is to catch the big evil monster octopus, and that's fine. It's their story. So you just need to really, really just go with it. I mean, when they do write their little bit about it, and it's actually a bit of a mess, so much so that you think that actually when they come back to look at this, they're not even going to remember what they've written. It's that much of a mess. So if that happens, you can just say to them, what does this say? Can you read it to me? And they will read it and then you can just write it out underneath on their bit, tiny on their bit. Just basically so when they look at it again, you remember what it says. It's not like a whole wasted story, because actually that will upset them later on if they look at it and they're like, I don't know what it says. So, you know, every little helps, but don't do it in a condescending way. Don't do it in like, oh, this is how this is spelled and this is what you should have done. Just write it out underneath really simply and plainly and like without drama. Step 4, so we are nearly there. Okay, step 4, they've got a want. So what tool will the character need, will the star need to obtain their want, to get what they want? What will they need? Okay, so Jacob wants to touch that star, doesn't he? So Jacob's going to need a really big ladder, obviously. Lulu wants a pet rabbit. She's going to need to get herself to a pet shop. She's going to need to find something, a kind of item that she can use to get a responsible adult in her household to take her to a pet shop. So I'm thinking like a nice box of chocolates could help that situation. So she has a box of chocolates for her responsible adult, and then she'll be like, you know, I really would like a rabbit, and there's, you know, that pet shop just up the road. Yeah, so I think that tool will help her a lot. Rose, to catch her butterfly, she needs a net. Okay, so got some lines. She needs a net. So what we're looking for here is just Rose needs a net. Then they can do their pitch. That's good. That's all we need for that stage. The picture of the tool that they will need to get their want. And that's it. I mean, if they want, obviously they can label it. There's not much labelling to do, is there? And they've already written out below. Let them colour it in if they want to. But that means we are on to step 5, which is, you know, the best bit of the story. It's the action. It's very exciting. So this is when your character is using the tool to get what they want. Yeah, the action that could be happening. So, does Jacob climb his really big ladder and touch the star? Does Lulu get to the pet shop? Has she chosen a rabbit? Is she very happy with this rabbit? Oh, it's all so soft and lovely. Rose gets the butterfly. Yes. Okay, so she's done well, has our character. So here she is. She's got her net. It's got bigger, this net. That's okay. And in her net, she's got the butterfly. Rose gets the butterfly. Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. It's all going well so far. Well done. Please colour it in if you want to. Step 6. We've made it. We've made it to the end. Step 6. With all stories, there's got to be some kind of ending, some kind of rounding up to what has happened. And this is kind of like, well, Jacob, he's climbed his ladder, he's touched his star, he's satisfied. Is he going back to his cave now to sleep among the bears and just sleep really deeply and happy knowing that he has touched the star? Did Lulu get her rabbit? Is she happy? Is it an outdoor rabbit? Is she feeding it carrots? What's going on with that? Is she living happily ever after with her rabbit and carrots? What will Rose do? This is where children can be very interesting, and they come up with things that really surprise you, and they do that all the time in life. That's what they do. They can be very surprising. It's like we underestimate them. But also with all stories in the end, they tell you what's going to happen. You need to help them at the beginning, but they start writing themselves. It's lovely. And so basically, I'm thinking that Rose is going to have her butterfly, and it's going to be in a jar. And yes, it's a beautiful butterfly. She is so happy that she's caught this butterfly and she's got it in a jar. It's kind of sad now. It's just on its own. It keeps hitting the side of the glass of the jar. And she's sort of feeling sad about the fact that she's trapped it, and she's looking out the window and all of the butterfly friends are out there, and it's not how she expected to feel, but she feels sad about it. So the ending is where Rose lets the butterfly go. Here she is. She's got her big boots on. She's waving to the butterflies because her butterfly has joined its butterfly friends. It's definitely a happy ending. Okay, so that's it. Hopefully this has been successful for you, and hopefully your little human beings have made their first stories and they are kind of getting it. They're kind of understanding how lovely it is to create stories. I mean, they might carry it around with them. Oh, so proud. You might want to put it into a book for them, like make some kind of book together. You could have a book to start with, but I know that my little human being, that would be too much pressure for her, like giving her this wonderful crisp white book and being like, yes, you're writing a story in this now. She wouldn't like that. That wouldn't go down well. It would be too much pressure. So working on random pieces of paper and putting them together are the way that we've worked forward, but I don't know how it's going to work for you and your children, so just do what feels right. Yeah, so if you're going to do the book thing and you're going to use staples, Just remember that the back of the staples can be quite sharp, so maybe use a little bit of sellotape on them just to make sure that no accidents occur. Maybe your little humans have enjoyed this so much and they've written so much that you might want to write more stories, or you might want to add an extra stage in. So we're talking after the action and before the end. You can have like a step 5.1. It's like the problem stage. What is the problem? A problem has occurred. Jacob's ladder wasn't long enough. It wasn't tall enough. He couldn't get to the star. He needed to get himself a lasso to help this situation. Maybe Lulu got to the pet shop and there were no rabbits. What's she going to do? She's going to have to find another pet shop. Oh, it's all so difficult all of a sudden. So yes, a problem stage can be quite good if they want to do a little bit extra. But remember that you need to let them have their artistic freedom to do this themselves. And if it's not fun for both of you, then it's not going to work. And yes, I would really like to know how you found this activity, and if you have found it useful, if you've tried it. If you don't need to, because you do this naturally anyway. What extra stages did you do? Were any of them good? Were any of them not? I mean, you might find that your tiny human really hates writing, like so much. They don't want to write, they don't want to hold a pencil, they don't want to draw, they don't like any of that. But they're like a little budding actor. Then maybe you could just talk to them about the stages, talk the stages through with them. It's still going to be like them thinking about it. It's still going to be really developing their imaginations and their creativity. They're still going to be creating a story. They're just not writing it down. And maybe you'll act it out. There's so many role play opportunities here for you to have fun with. And so that's it for me really today. I really hope this works for you as sort of an option to maybe helping your children write their first stories. And yes, that's it. Hopefully now you're going to have like tiny authors in your household, and they're just going to learn the love of reading and writing that you have, you know. That is it for now, and I will hopefully see you very soon. Goodbye.